What's going on, everybody? So today we're just gonna be talking about some of the watches that are on my wish list for the year of 2026 and what, watches that I'm kind of interested within the next, 5 to 10 years. Wrist check for right now. I am wearing the Speedmaster Moonswatch. This one I believe is the Mission on Earth. Um, I got it about, I would say 6, 7 months ago, and honestly, it's been really well. I know people have been complaining about the watch being plasticky or kind of cheap, but in my opinion, I feel like the watch is really light and comfortable. For daily use, I think it's a great watch. I barely feel like I have it on my wrist, and I thoroughly have been enjoying the watch. And honestly, it's not really breaking the bank either. You're able to get this watch after taxes for less than $300. So I feel like if you want to, Omega, kind of like an Omega, I feel like this is a good entry point for a person who doesn't want to spend $5,000, $6,000 of their hard-earned money onto an Omega just yet, but they want to see like, hey, is this something that I really want to get into? And I feel like having a Moon's watch is kind of like a great way to get your foot, in the door and see if the Speedmaster is ultimately the watch that you really want to have. Uh, but moving on, there are a few watches that I have really, have my eye on over the past few years. The first one is going to be the Daytona, and I know everyone's like, "Oh, the Daytona is the most overhyped watch that is out there." But there's a good reason why it's overhyped. It's because, in my opinion, it is the most symmetrical looking, the nicest dial when it comes to a chronograph that there is, in my opinion, out there in the market. At least for its price range as well. Um, Now, in my opinion, I really like the stainless steel Daytonas. I feel like specifically the white Panda dial is really beautiful. Now, do I think it's worth the $36,000 that this person's asking for? No, that is way overpriced. Now, if this was closer to that, 17, 18,000, like the pre-COVID times, I think it'd be worth the price. But at this rate, I don't think it's really worth it for me personally. I just think it's overpriced. But for Holy Grail watches, it would 100% be the Rolex Daytona rose gold with baguette hour markers. This watch, I don't believe they are making it uh, anymore, as far as I believe. But in my opinion, like guys, just you see this dial, man. Like it is so beautiful, and I know pictures don't do watches justice, but I had the privilege of trying this watch on at a boutique in Boca Raton, Florida, and they had not the one with the oyster flex, but the one with it was with the actual full gold bracelet with the hour baguette markers. And honestly, with my skin tone, I feel like it is better than the yellow gold in my opinion. And I know like the yellow gold, the Paul, the what do you call it? The Paul Newman, the John Mayer is the most hyped gold Daytona that there is out there. But in my opinion, I feel like this is just a better looking watch. I've tried both of them on. I've tried, the John Mayer on as well, and I just feel like the yellow gold is just too flashy for me. Um, it doesn't suit my skin tone that well. Uh, don't get me wrong, this watch is beautiful, and it definitely, if you're trying to grab someone's attention, I mean, a green dial with some bright yellow gold is definitely a statement piece. I don't think you can go wrong with that. I just feel like the sunburst style is a little bit understated. Suits the skin tone a little bit better, and honestly, the hour baguette out like markers just make it seem a little bit more premium, more prestigious than just having the regular hour markers on the John Mayer. Not only that, but you can get this for 49. I mean, yes, it's expensive at $49,000, but compared to the John Mayer, I just feel like you're getting a lot of watch, and in my opinion, this dial is also better overall. So that's one of the watches that I really have an interest in. Kind of depending on how things go. Hopefully, I can get that watch in the next 10, 15 years if I play my cards right. We'll see. And also, eventually, my future wife, if she allows me to get that watch, fingers crossed. I got to do a lot of convincing, but we'll try. We'll try my best. Another watch that I really, really have, my eye on is definitely one of the Ferrero Tourbillons. Uh, I know it's not one of the most prestigious watch brands when it comes to tourbillons, but I just feel like Tag Heuer just executed this style really, really well. Uh, I had the privilege of checking one out in person at the boutique, and honestly, I do have a smaller wrist size. I have a 6.25 inch, sorry, 6.5 inch circumference wrist. So I usually try not to go for watches that have a dial greater than 42 millimeters in case diameter. So this just barely gets by. Uh, but because of how the case is, made and how the dial is made, I feel like it's done in a way where even though it's a 42 millimeter watch, it kind of sits like a 40, in my opinion. It's not too big. Not only that, but I just love what Tag Heuer has done with their career lineup in the last few years. This bubble style, you know, case with the crystal, domed sapphire is just something that is catching my eye, and I just love how, these sub dials here are presented in the way with the 6 o'clock tourbillon just ticking away. I just feel like they do such a good job. If they can come out with this in a 40 millimeter case and like a blue dial, or even a white one with a black, like a panda dial, oh my god, I feel like that would just sell so well. Um, it's definitely a beautiful piece, and I feel like Tag can really do a they can do so much with this case, honestly. So hopefully, they can kind of come out with different dials, maybe even a smaller one that could fit people's that have smaller wrists, and I think that would be a huge sell for the watch. Moving on, I do have my final watch, which honestly, I know it seems funny, but it is the Omega Speedmaster, the Snoopy edition. I don't know what it is about this watch. I mean, first of all, I'm a dog lover. I love the color blue, as you can tell from what I'm wearing. I love the color blue, and I already have myself the first Omega in Space Speedmaster. Um, I just feel like I want to get something that isn't the original Speedmaster, but has something to do with a dog. And I love the color blue, and I feel like this is just a good blend of blue with a little bit of the silverish white dial. Uh, and then also just the case back on this is so unique and so well executed. I feel like this is just a watch that's screaming, me. I just think this is a beautiful watch. I think Omega, you know, killed it out of the park. They did such a good job with this watch. And the prices for these watches have really come down in the last few years. I mean, if you look at the trend here, back in 2022, I mean, you can tell right when it came out, it was selling for $38,000. That is insane for a watch that you could buy for under, 10,000 right out of the boutique. So in my opinion, I do still think it is a little bit overpriced, but I mean, at 16, around $17,000, I mean, I don't think it's that bad of a buy. I mean, I would definitely get this over a Rolex Daytona Steel, the Panda dial that's selling for double the price. Now, I don't think that watch is worth double. Like this watch is definitely not half the price or half the value of the speed or the Rolex Daytona, in my opinion. This watch is just more special, and it's half the price, so it definitely is a bargain for me. But yeah, those are the overall watches that I personally am looking at, and will be watching the prices over the next few years. And hopefully, I'll have an updated video when I do purchase one of these watches. Hopefully, it's sooner than later. But I just wanted to, record a video and, just share my thoughts on what watches that I like. And hopefully, if any of you guys are watching, you guys can comment what your, holy grail watches are. And maybe we can, chat a little bit here and there. I love talking about watches, so I can talk about it all day long. But yeah, I appreciate you guys, tuning in and hearing what I have to say, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you.